to the show and fall at your door. We got that info for you. Touchdown on that side and buy anything. More than just a podcast for you.
The next question. Are recruiting services like NCSA and other sports services really helpful to parents, or are they a waste of time?
For some, it's a waste of time, and for some, it helps some. It just depends.
Elaborate.
Well, I mean, you got in my travels, you got kids in 4 different segments. They either, a decent player, they're an average player, they're a good player, or they just, one of them big top rated 5 stars. Okay. That's my opinion. Okay. Now, if you're not at the top, then obviously you're not getting a lot of hits, you're not getting a lot of looks. Okay. So when things are not happening, typically the way a player expects or a parent for it expects for him to get looks, him to be getting offers, things of that nature, his potential, to even get a full ride to any type of college. So they start leaning on these extra recruiting services. Well, yes, it depends on what they have. Okay, a lot of them have this big database where they reach out to all these colleges and they force these names, they push these names through there because it's money. They always want to charge you some annual rate fee, to take your kid and get him exposure through all the colleges and whatever their database is. There's a home for everyone, and it's just like college. So if whatever they're selling you with these recruiting services, whatever they're selling you, if your kid doesn't fit those elements or doesn't have what those elements are, to even scratch the surface with all of these schools across this country, then it's a waste of money. And typically it's always the kids that are not the top 2, the big 5 stars and then the good players. It's always the underdogs for the most part. So it's good for some, and it's not good for others. I mean, that's my take on that.
I think it's interesting. I was going out there and I was doing some research because y'all know how I do. And for parents who don't have time, a recruiting service I found based on the feedback, they're saying this is good. If I don't have time to build relationships, do my own research, go out there and do the work myself, I can actually pay somebody to do it. And then they have but there's with paying somebody to do it, the more you pay, the more access you get, the more they promote you to particular college coaches. But it was interesting because even within the recruiting services, lots of college coaches say that they don't actually use them. They prefer interaction with the family, with the athlete, with the high school coach, and parents who were surveyed who use recruiting services, they say ultimately we went with schools we'd already found on our own, or schools that had approached us already before we even actually signed up for a service. So if you're a parent, to Kevin's point, if you're a parent that doesn't have a lot of time, don't know, you're not able to do the research, and your kid isn't out there being marketed, heavily looked at, it could be a benefit to you because, a scholarship is thousands of dollars in savings. However, even the recruiting services themselves say that they typically end up matching an athlete with a school that he or she had already found on their own prior to coming to the service.
Okay, so can I interject real quick, James Evans?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, and I'm gonna, shameless plug, I am a recruiting service, almost, so to speak. But I think that when you named a couple of NC, NA, SA, I feel like they're scams. Because, and I'm just being honest.
Shameless plug, tell us how you're different.
So, but I'm telling you my perspective. I feel like they're a scam, and I'll give you my experience. But before I give you my experience with that, what I want to say is just like Coach Tolliver just said. So I can pay you, and you can push my child's name, But if my child's still a D3 athlete, he gonna be a D3 athlete. He ain't going to Alabama. Okay, so that's the reality. So you can pay for whatever you want to pay, and somebody can be pushing your child or whatever. But what we do, why we started doing what we do, my husband and myself, is because of shams like that. They don't really want it. Nobody wants to deal with a database, because again, the person that pays you $1,500, yeah, you're gonna push their name to everybody. But when that kid ain't worthy of that scholarship, you're really just kind of doing a disservice to that kid. And so what we do is we evaluate the talent, we evaluate the film, we evaluate the athlete, and we're honest. We're upfront and honest. We never tell anybody, we're going to get you a scholarship or this, that, and the other. What we do is we want to put you in the best position to be recruited. But if that means you need more training, if that means you need to sharpen your skill set, if that means you need to change your position, which is not what the NASA does. They basically put you in a database and they basically push you. So what I would say, and then the other comment that I have for parents who say that they don't have time, and I'm not judging, you might want to get with your local coach. You might want to get with the best coach that your kid has had, because again, that coach may know more than you. I'm not saying, but we also try to train the parents to be aware, to know. Everybody out here think they know because they played ball way back in 1965, but it's a whole different realm now. You know, you've got the internet, you've got Twitter, you've got all sorts of sources where kids are really being approached and kids are being looked at. Everybody's got a huddle now, and this, that, and the other. But 9 times out of 10, the coaches ain't even really looking at the huddle. They want to see your entire game film. A lot of parents are just ignorant to what the requirements are. Because little Billy can run and because little Nancy can jump, they think, oh, my kid's going to college on a scholarship. And that's really not. Scholarships are based on money. It's based on the performance. It's based on what you can do for that school. It's not just based on you funneling money into me and me talking to, because I'm not even, if you are not the athlete, CWP Sports Consulting, we're not going to promote you on that. We're going to try to get you up there, but we're definitely not going to say, oh, you're going to a Power 5 school, when we really, in all honesty, know that you're not. So I think, again, so my experience was NASA contacted us, basically wanting me for my oldest son, who ended up going to Notre Dame. My son had signed his national letter of intent and was getting ready to go that summer. And I got an email, because I didn't pay NASA one dime. I got an email talking about somebody, they got a hit on his name. Like, my son done got several scholarship offers, this, that, and the other, and they emailed me and said they done got a hit on his name. So to me, if they are really looking for talented athletes and they're trying to push talented athletes, it shouldn't really be about that. You know what I mean? Because again, we do what we do because we're passionate and we want to see young men and young women move forward. But we also want to be honest with them, because like I said, even if you send, we see a number of kids, even now with this system of 5 stars and 3 stars and this, that, and the other, go to the collegiate level and are unsuccessful because somebody done gassed them up. They done lost their work ethic. They don't want to work hard anymore and all this and that. So we try to come from just the passion of the sports and really looking and evaluating that athlete and making sure their grades are right and making sure the other things that they need are right and making sure if they need additional training. You know, I've turned people away because if your kid doesn't have the academics, you need to go invest in a tutor. Because guess what? Your kid's going to get to college and they're going to flunk out because they ain't even prepared for the academic side of it. The sport is extracurricular, just like somebody said. It's about you going in there and being able to compete academically as well as on the field, on the court, on the mat, etc.
I thought that was a good sermon right there. And that's actually really, really true. Thanks for highlighting what you do differently. Mr. Parsons, you look like you want to hop in.
Oh, I don't got much. They touched on everything. I used to get those emails all the time. And like I said, this football thing was new to me. But I started seeing them price tags, $300, $400. I'm like, man, just to get his name out there, I just took the other route. I just started finding camps and places where I guess it was exposure events. And then I feel you go out there and you show what you got. From there, we start getting the invites to bigger camps, no cost. We just had to get there. And that's the route I went, and that's the route we try to tell other parents to go. And again, like Ms. Price said, there's a lot of stuff I didn't know. And like I said, we played at 2 high schools, and nobody never sat me and his mom down and explained the process. So us being in this NFL Prep Academy, I started meeting parents and they started talking to me about different things, and that's what helped me out. And I just feel like if you ain't talking to me, and my son was a 5-star, these other average kids, I know you're not talking to them. And then some coaches just talk to the kid. Well, you know, if you talk to a kid, the kid don't really give the parents the right information. So I figured, like, at the same time, even though they 17, 18, supposed to be young adults, they still kids. You got to talk to the parents. It's paperwork you got to fill out, and the kid ain't always going to bring that stuff home to you. And then you find the last minute. And then grades is another issue. Again, if you've been around with a 1.9 GPA, why are you playing on Friday nights or Saturday afternoons? But again, it's all about the win. These coaches don't want to sit their best players. They want them to play, but you use them for the one kid I know, he played the most games in Pennsylvania history for 4 years, started every game, playoffs and everything, but couldn't go to school because they didn't have no grades. You know, that's appalling to me. You know what I mean? But again, most parents just know their kids is good, and because they're good, they're going to go to school. You got to have grades. It's a system. The child plays a part, the parent plays a part, the coach plays a part, and the school plays a part. If everybody do their parts, the kids are going to be successful. But 9 times out of 10, they just worried about the win, and it hurts so many kids.
Absolutely. You know what? But can I piggyback real quick on Terrence? What you said, that's another big piece to what we do. One of the things that we've learned, like I said, everything is kind of, you know, follow the money trail, right? And you'll kind of see where people are going. So like, for instance, with football, so you got these 7-on-7s that are happening that, you know, I've heard both sides. Again, my husband coaches high school football. So we understand sometimes it's a opportunity for the kids to learn the plays and this, that, and the other. But that's also when camps are happening. And so with our kids, especially football, I had to battle with my younger son's coach. Man, we're not going to no 7-on-7 that don't count for nothing. My son's going to camp. I need him to be looked at. He's undersized. I need him to be seen by somebody in order for him to get his name out there. It wasn't about what we were saying. The high school coaches here where I live, they are very low key. Most of them don't reach out to coaches. They don't feel like it's their job. So the camp circuit is huge, but coaches will try to penalize your athlete if they ain't at a 7-on-7 game. Like, you know, stuff like that is just silly. And so for a parent, you're willing to advocate for your athlete, and in the sense of, my son may not attend every 7-on-7 this summer because we need to hit up this Clemson camp. We need to be going to USC. We need to be going over to Alabama or Georgia because they're having a camp, and I feel like he is worthy enough to really be recognized and whatnot. But so those are the types of things that a lot of times coaches may not tell you because of their selfishness, and parents may just be ignorant of. So that's what we kind of go out of our way to help players that may even be D2 or D3. My thing is, if somebody's going to pay for you to go to school, let's get it.
That's very true, because free college is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So moving right along, next question. North Carolina this week just shut down their campus, sent all the students home except for the football players. Thoughts?
I just said, again, follow the money. Football's big. So as long as it's football, it's like they're not worried about nothing else. And that's not good, you know? Like, and if I'm just a regular student, I'm gonna feel a certain type of way. Why I gotta go home and can't get the education, but the football players can? I should be on campus too, especially if I'm paying my money.
It's really interesting. So North Carolina, Notre Dame, Michigan State this week all switched to virtual learning because of COVID. Different experience for the football players. I'm of the mindset that if it is unsafe for the general student body, it is unsafe for a football player. If you are going to have my child on campus, then just acknowledge that you believe that entertainment is essential, and that because my child provides entertainment, he or she is an essential employee. Give me some salary and some benefits commensurate with being an essential employee. It's very simple. If you're gonna, I want them to stop playing lip service to amateurism. We know they're employees. Let's just acknowledge it, do what you need to do to ensure that they have safe futures, and move forward.
Amen. Well said and put. That's it. That's all I got to say.
Well, you know,
I can't even piggyback, man.
you know, I
That's
always
why I
got to
jumped in
comment
first.
what I'm going to say, though, what I'm going to say is, you know, one of the things, too, that I've learned is, you know, I got, again, 2 athletes that are going, one has gone through the college process and one going. But you got to know your kids. Parents also got to be honest. Because when the MEAC canceled for my younger son, who was home since like March or whatever, that boy acted as if there was no COVID and he just was living his best life. So when they canceled, I said, oh no, I'll sign a waiver. You're going to stay at school. Because him coming home, it is about safety, and I agree, but I think he's safer at school because he didn't do nearly as much at school than he does here. So they've all been on virtual learning or whatever, but he has an apartment and a couple of roommates and whatnot. But no, I was like, no, my boy needs to stay at home, because when he come home, oh, mom, I got to go catch punts with somebody. Oh, mom, I got to go do this. Oh, mom, I got, you know, he's all over the place. Whereas I felt like if I could control him just being there in Greensboro and staying there, you know, he ain't got as many friends there, I don't think. So, you know, I think it's about knowing your kid too. You know, I think some of it, James Etta, just to kind of, you know, respond to what you were saying about, I do think they're employees. I agree wholeheartedly with that, but I think my son is safer there because when he's here, it's wheels up.
It's really interesting. So for you, football and school gives him less of a social life, more focus. And so you can control where he is. It would be interesting to know if everybody got the option, because I'm a regular student's parent. Maybe my regular student is more focused on campus as well, but I don't get that option because my child doesn't play football. I mean, you make a very, you make a very, very great point. But you're right. If you're a parent who knows your kid, maybe I need the same option too, because my kid's more focused, smaller social scale. So next question. Should injuries that happen in practice, at high school games, should injuries that happen in high school games or in high school practices be fully covered by high schools? Thoughts?
Well, for me, I think they should, but over so many centuries, it's never happened. You know why? Because they don't want their liability. And typically, it starts with the state representatives and the politicians, where they don't want to fund this stuff. That's always been the norm. One thing I want y'all to know about me, I'm sick of the norm. If there's a better way to get it done and everybody to be happy and to be safe and just create a different path, a different environment to be successful in anything that we're trying to do, I'm sick of the norm. I mean, they don't want to stomach it. The universities don't want to stomach it. They want you to sign the waiver. They want your insurance card. Your insurance is going to pay for the first piece, and whatever's left, they'll pick up the second piece. I just think in high schools, they need to start somewhere to start, you know, taking care of these kids. I think, you know, this sport, and it could be any sport, it could be basketball, track, whatever. They all go through injuries. But I think they need to have some accountability. I mean, we the taxpayers, we paying for it anyway. I just think that some of the politicians and the representatives in these states, you know, they're doing what they want to do with the money, you know, and they're forgetting about these kids. That's why the school systems in most of these states are in trouble financially, and they don't have the things and the resources they need to continue the education for these kids.
I think you make a really good point that just because something wasn't always the normal, we should be asking, is this the right thing to do?
Right.
This question was actually a surprise to me. I'm going to be honest, my 3 went to private school, and every year in high school, we were given the option of having a separate insurance policy that would cover them at like school events or at practices. And so I assumed that everybody got that option. But when I was going out to do the research, I quickly realized that everybody didn't get the option. Here in Tennessee, the state association will offer like a catastrophic care policy option. I see different states offering that, but the deductible is like astronomical, and it's only in instances of catastrophic care. I think you're right. It's not appropriate for parents to have to foot the bill when, you know, we're paying our tax dollars for certain services. But I have to be honest, I didn't realize it wasn't a thing to have a policy offered to every student that played a sport until I had to do the research for this question. I just thought it was normal for everybody to be offered insurance.
No, it's not normal. And the public sector, in my experience, in the state of Louisiana, in the state of Florida, in the state of Virginia, and in the state of Illinois, in the public school system, it is horrible. You don't get no support, period.
Mr. Parsons, you're looking very thoughtful over there.
Oh no, I'm just thankful I got good insurance. They should offer it because, again, you know, you're playing for the school and then you're representing the school. And if you got elite players and you're getting a lot of wins, some of that, you know, brings money back to the school. So if something happens, it should be something where they cover you, or at least meet your parents halfway, depending on your insurance. But you're having an option around here, I think that would be great. And that should be something that should be brought up, to offer an option. If the parent have to pay a little bit per week during the season or whenever football's going on to help out, because, again, every day they suit up, there's an injury that could happen.
Well, and I, you know what? Let me just start off by saying Jamesetta is definitely the exception and not the rule, y'all. Not too many parents be doing all this research and stuff. We don't be knowing. We be signing whatever they tell us to sign because we excited and we going with it. And so I think I paid, you know, again, public sector, South Carolina here. When my kids did track, I paid like a $40 fee, and that was supposed to be. You know, I'm blessed to my kids didn't get injured like that. Like, so I ain't have nothing major. So thank God for that. But I think that was supposed to be like additional, like onto, like they would take my insurance first and then whatever my insurance didn't cover, that for, you know, the little $40 school policy. I think, again, not having done my research, don't quote me on that, but that's really just what I assumed. So, you know, am I okay with paying extra for insurance? You know, again, they're minors at that point or whatever. But what I wanted to say was that's still happening on some college levels. I talked to a mom a couple of days ago, and she was saying they were asking her son for his insurance card to do COVID testing.
Yep.
So this is, you know, so we talking about high school. Should high school cover it? Some colleges still ain't covering it. NCAA. What y'all regulate that?
Yep. And I've had an experience with a mom whose kid did get COVID testing and she got a bill. Like, you're absolutely right.